came together. I did the launch one with Daniel all those years ago, and I've never seen him kind of almost on the back foot and acting in a way like that. He brought it to an abrupt kind of end as well, just got up, and I've never seen him like that. Are you trying to get in his head? Are you in his head?
No. I'm trying to establish the truth, because the truth will always set you free. I merely was, like I said, demonstrating what we'd all experienced. It wasn't just me. So obviously we hit a few nerves, and he was acting very uncharacteristic of him. He was joking around. He likes to play this clown, this Pied Piper, magician. He's a dancer. He's everything. He's very colorful, this man. He has a lot of colors to him. And he knows deep down that we've sussed him. We've sussed him. Because I said, this man's like a chameleon. Changes colors to fit in within, infiltrate his environment. He knows that we've sussed him. All that acting games and that, he uses it as a smoke screen to cover what's actually really going on. I'm not going to elaborate anymore. We've got him. And I said to him, he's there, he's well documented. I said, we're going to forensically dissect you and catch you.
What did you make of Russ Amber's comments? He's obviously part of Usyk's team. He wasn't there that day, but he's been asked about it, and he had a few things to say about your approach at the press conference. Said you shouldn't really be speaking to the fighter. There's nothing he abhors more than the trainer speaking to the fighter kind of thing. What did you make of it?
Yeah, well, everybody has their opinion. I have my opinion, he has his opinion. I'm sorry, Mr. Amber, I disappointed you with my... I'm merely speaking the truth. Like I said, the truth will always set you free. I'll advise you to accept the truth and speak the truth. That will always also set you free. I'd like him to come and actually sit in front of me and explain to me what his problem is. Am I the only coach in the world of boxing that has spoken to the opposition? Yeah? No, I'm not. It's a regular occurrence. So I don't know what again, like I said, he's got his opinion, okay? But let him come, let's go as gentlemen, sit down for a coffee and discuss it. I will be able to, not convince him, I don't have to convince him about anything. Who is he? He's nothing in my life. It really isn't. So therefore, he can hold on to his opinion and he's entitled to it.
And those are the words of Don Charles, trainer of Daniel Dubois. And he calls Usyk a clown. He says he's colorful. And he's not trying to get up under his skin, but the truth will set you free. And that's all he was trying to do. And let me counterpunch. The truth, yeah, it will set you free. But the $1 million question is, people, what is the truth? I mean, what was true? Because it seems to me like you say that he wasn't hurt, you say that he was faking, but then yet people like his son, Mr. Fox, said that no, he was actually legitimately hurt from a body shot, not from a low blow. So the question is, it's like, listen, Don Charles says he was faking, right? His son says he wasn't faking, he was actually hurt from the shot because the shot was legal. My question is, the $1 million question is, he was either hurt or he wasn't. You know, Usyk said that he was hurt because it was a low blow. They're saying, Don was saying that, hey, no, he wasn't hurt, he was faking, he manipulated with his body language to the ref, and therefore the ref was the one that, because he was manipulated, because he was faking, he was allowed more time from a legal shot. So it's either he was hurt or he wasn't hurt. You see what I mean? So one says on the same side, and this is the problem with all these people having all these different opinions. They kind of put their foot in their mouth because they contradict each other. One says, no, he was faking, Don Charles. The other, his son, says, no, he wasn't faking, he was hurt. So I'm thinking to myself, like, you can't have both of those. One of those has to be true, and then one of them has to be untrue, right? I think that Don Charles was pretty much trying to get under his skin, but he was trying to make a point that Daniel and his punching power and the shot was legal. But the whole elephant in the room is you hear Don Charles go at the fighter, which, to answer, he went at Oleksandr Usyk, and that is normal. You do see trainers talking to other fighters sometimes. You see that a lot with Teddy Atlas, and a lot of trainers do that to the fighters. But it's crazy because you're looking at Don Charles go at Usyk, and he's mad and he's angry. But the elephant in the room is the ref. You see him go at Usyk, and you see him talk to Usyk, and you see him challenge Usyk about how he felt and how you shouldn't be a liar and how you're really not a true Christian because you lied in the ring. Shit like that. Really, really, I think that's real enough to get anybody upset when you question someone's faith over a referee's discretion or ruling. That you don't even bring up the referee, and I think it's unfair that Don Charles is coming at Usyk like that without coming at the ref. Then, and I know what he's doing, and I know why he's not doing that about the ref, because he doesn't want to get in trouble with the officials. Because when you start talking about, well, if the referee was in on it, that means that something higher up was in play. In Poland, the referee, was compromised or corrupted in some type of way. And I don't think they want to go there. I think he's smarter than that. But if you want to talk about the truth, Don Charles, you should talk about the referee and his ruling. The body language isn't supposed to allow anyone to do anything, because where that referee was looking, he saw where the punch landed, and from his own decision and his own eyesight, he made that call based on how he felt that punch was. There is nothing else you can do with that. It was a bullshit lie. It wasn't that he took a beat and looked. No, he saw it, bow. He immediately called it a low blow. Immediately. He didn't take a look. He didn't think. He didn't fall. He didn't pause. He didn't take a beat. He didn't do any of that. He immediately, bow. Oh, no. And he told Usyk to stay on the ground. So, Don Charles, your actions is not directed where it's supposed to be directed. That's the problem. It's not. Your problem should be with the referee that made the wrong call, in your opinion. That's it. So calling Usyk a clown, saying that he's a liar, saying that he's untruthful. Since he's untruthful, he's not a true Christian. Where is this real Christian that you pretend to be, and all this, that, and the other? That's wrong on so many levels. I mean, so many levels, to the point where, you're blasting this man over a referee's call, and you blame the fighter instead of the referee. That's delusional. And I don't see how you, supposedly being an intelligent he speaks very well, so it shows you, bro, you got common sense, and you should have saw the referee called the wrong call. That's what I would be doing. See, at least let's look at Wilder, the people that make excuses. That's why I'm using Wilder. At least Wilder blasted the referee in the first fight with Fury. You know what I mean? Because that's who he had an issue with, not Tyson Fury. It was with the ref, Don. So at least Wilder was smart enough to say, hey, that was bullshit, because any other ref would have called it a knockout. Just like any other ref makes the call. That's why you should criticize or direct your energy towards the referee, not Oleksandr Usyk. That's why Usyk got pissed off, because, anyone knew that has common sense. And I know he was angry because the punch was a punch hard enough to drop Usyk. And I think the effect of the punch was, he was hurt. Oh, yeah, that punch hurt him. But the problem was, it was not 100% legal. In my opinion, it wasn't. It was an uppercut, and how uppercuts go, they come from the bottom up. So the punch grazed the part. Some of that glove hit the belt line, but the most part of it was south of the belt line. So it was brackish. It was straddled between the belt line and below the belt line. Okay. So the referee called it low, and a lot of people will argue that it is a contentious argument, which I get. But at the same time, people, you can't blast the fighter from getting hit in a shot that he felt was illegal, especially when the referee already ruled it illegal. You can't get mad at the fighter. You get mad at the ref. But you guys tell me what you think of Don Charles stating that Usyk is a clown. He puts on shows for the media, which you call that, Don, being charismatic. You call that having character. You know what I mean? And see, Usyk being colorful, being that guy that Don Charles is talking about, just makes him more likable. He's not a stiff, fucking big, dumb idiot that just sits there and barely listens to people. He actually has character, and he was doing all that shit before he could speak better English. So let that sink in. But you guys tell me what you think of Don Charles' latest interview on The Ring magazine. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!